Alright, at the beginning of the episode, we can see James pulling some trucks. He's a mixed traffic engine, so he can pull trucks and coaches as well. And here we can spot our first two goofs. James's eyes are quite wonky, and there's a small gap between his face and eye. His driver says everyone have brightened up their day because of James's red paint. Next morning, he was boasting to the other engines.
Look at me.
No.
Look at me. We're all useful. The Fat Controller says so, and he's Sir Topham Hatt, head of the whole railway. You know what, James? Added Percy. What? Replied James. You're getting all puffed up.
James puffed away. In the next scene, be ready for a bunch of goofs. First, a big piece of studio equipment can be seen. How could the crew not see such a thing? Anyway, Gordon's eyes are wonky. Then James's eyes are quite wonky. And his face is on the loose. Also, did you see Thomas in the previous scene? He was shunting some goods train, but in the scene with Gordon, some coaches can be seen coming on the same line as Thomas. A few seconds later on the same line, Thomas's goods train is coming backwards and then it stops. Also, we saw Thomas pushing the trucks previously, but in the next scene, Thomas is not in front of that van. Next morning, Thomas was shunting new red coaches.
Good morning, James. Are those coaches for me? Asked James hopefully. No, these are for Gordon's Express. I'll fetch your trucks next. But James...
Hey, we saw Edward with his train in the background, but now he's nowhere to be seen. Thomas has a gap between his face and eye.
What about the trucks? Give them to Gordon. Come on, Thomas.
Look at those stripes, the stickers are not connected to each other. When James's driver returned, he was coupled to coaches instead of trucks. Now take a closer look if you will spot something weird.
Coupled to the coaches and he puffed away.
Did you see it? Figure of James's crew member moved by its own. It's very creepy. Later, Thomas returned with the trucks, but look at Thomas's side. His stripe is extremely crooked. Just look at this. A few minutes later, Gordon arrived.
Where's the express? Thomas told him about James, and so here are your trucks. Gordon was very cross.
Where's Percy? He was seen previously passing by with some trucks. But even if he was passing by, it was wrong because some moments before, some coaches were passing through the same line.
Wait till the Fat Controller hears about this.
Meanwhile, James was enjoying himself.
What a clever plan, what a clever plan, he chuffed.
Then he saw Sir Topham Hatt.
Some jokes are funny, but not this one, James.
The man who was standing next to Sir Topham Hatt is now gone. Also, when James wished Sir Topham Hatt, he made him quite shaking.
You will stay in your shed until you are wanted.
Later, James was being teased by the others. Look at Gordon, some mud can be seen on his front. The mud from the previous episode, I think. Both of Henry's brake pipes are facing upwards. James was sad.
Next morning, he went back to work. Hello, whistled Thomas. Good to see you out and about again. I'm sorry I tricked you, said James. Are these my trucks? Yes, replied Thomas kindly. They are pleased to have you back. James puffed in.
Wait, watch this again.
James puffed in.
James derailed the trucks. Anyway, James arrived at the harbor with his goods train. He was all day pushing and pulling trucks into their place.
Time to go home now, James, said his driver at last. No trucks or passengers, just we two.
But he was wrong.
Excuse me, called the man. I have a meeting with Sir Topham Hatt and I mustn't be late. May I ride back with you?
His driver agreed. Then he whispered to James that the man is a railway inspector. But I want to mention that this railway inspector is actually Jeremiah Jobling, the man who gave his bootlaces to James's crew when James made the hole to the brake pipe. James was most impressed. James was steaming along the lines as smoothly as he could. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting in the station.
This clever engine gave me a splendid ride. You must be proud of him. Yes, indeed. James, once again, you are a really useful engine.
So those are all of the goofs found in Season 3 episode No Joke for James. I hope you all enjoyed this video, my train lovers, and I will see you next time.